this is part of the project. So Maria.
Thank you. So, welcome to this session. And as Eric said, this is a part of a Erasmus Plus project called Tenacity. And Tenacity is focusing on different ways and methods on how universities can engage with the surrounding society. And we're a couple of partners with this project, all spread out around Europe. It's coordinated by the University of Allmänheten. And we are VA, Public and Science, so there's from NGO, CSO, non-profit organization, and I'm Maria Haggart, our International Relations Manager, and Eric Falker is our researcher. And today we're going to talk to you and present a pilot project within this EU project. But as I said, the project objectives is to test and design and elaborate on new methods and processes on how universities can interact with surrounding society. It might be obvious, and we might have come very far here in Sweden, but that's not the case in some parts of the European Union. Therefore, these kind of exchanges within the Erasmus program is very important to test and to learn and exchange ideas and so on with each other. And this is the final part of this project where we're testing a pilot. We constructed within the project a pilot platform for collaboration and exchanges of ideas that are connected to any of the sustainable development goals. And we have chosen number 11, sustainable cities and city planning. And when designing this, we're thinking, how can we make this also interesting for the local environment? And we really would like to engage with youth, the next generation, the ones that will come take over from us, the rulers. So we decided a brief process that started during the European Researchers' Night, where we had science cafes, and Våra, who's going to be a speaker today as well, presented and interacted with the students around what is sustainable city, what is social sustainability, etc. And then, together with Romina Rivera, researcher here at Södertörn University, we held a co-creation workshop where students from Huddinge Gymnasium, who also participated at the Science Cafe, worked on personas. They did a persona development process to the where they thought about a youth perspective, a youth today, and a youth in 20, 30, 50 years' time. And also they explored on what would be the future vision of my future city, because that's a total idea of this experiment. And unfortunately, this class, it's a year 3 high school natural science class students. They're so dedicated to their schoolwork, so they couldn't come here today because they had a maths class and so natural exams. But we interviewed them yesterday about the receptions of this project and how they found it.
I guess we were together, and I guess we have had more of a positive futuristic view, but a little bit of a negative. But we wanted to hope for the best for our organization, but also we did acknowledge things that are relevant now that will affect the future, like AI, how much society and police and everything can look at what you're doing and free time and stuff like that. But we also did positive things like automation of vehicles, automation of everything really, and the 15-minute city kind of, everything being closed. You don't need to go by the metro or anything to get to where you need to be to do certain activities and such. That's, I guess, what we fought for.
What about was negative things in consideration? There was the forest. I was thinking about the forest where I live is going to not exist in 2 years. The last thing that we talked about when it comes to the future was, I guess, more green and renewable energy also, like cars and stuff like that will have more charging stations if they're all electric, for example. it was very fun and also very interesting because this is not what I thought it was going to be. I didn't think that when designing a city, we would have a short amount of time to create like a persona or like a character and then try to build up a city or out of that persona. But it was very interesting and also very fun. It was like spitballing ideas with the people in the group and trying to just come up with as much as possible in a very short amount of time.
Yes, I would like to be involved, but I also find that before this, I didn't really know, but had I known, I think it would have been like, pretty, I don't know, kind of hard to engage as like a teenager, that I have like this social structure that I do, and now suddenly I can actually engage in kind of politics and like how society works around me, and it's kind of scary and like, oh, how am I supposed to do this? No one's really helping me with how to like change stuff. So I think yes, I would like to be more engaged, but it's also like how to do that is kind of not so talked about process, at least for younger people.
Yeah, no, it was very fun to do, and it's we were not we were like being a part of it was very fun, and the knowledge of knowing that you have your voice heard is very is comforting in a way. Like people want our opinion, and therefore they will listen to what we have to say. And also, I think it's also valuable for others to hear like other generations' ideas of the future and what they are concerned about and what they're thinking about. So being able to provide that for others would be very fun and I guess valuable.
Pretty much the same as the Allmänheten, that it was a very fun study, and I didn't know that I could have this much impact in society as a young person. But it's also like very good to know that you do have a voice, and that it's important that you can use it because young generations are not going to live it. So they want
I need to start with making people believe that they can actually change stuff. Like they can actually change it, and not that, yes, I've heard that I can change it, and yes, I can vote, like that kind of stuff for older people as well. But it's like, will I see these changes, and will I know that these changes are happening? Is there like a security? I mean, that's kind of, I think, what needs to be in place.
Yeah, I definitely think people may not be aware that they can engage with this. So I think city planners and stuff like that, they have to try to get in contact and be the ones who opens up the conversation for a day or like a meeting or something like that. So working with like schools is I think a very great way to, for example, get like youth point of view or like stuff like that. Because I myself, I would not know that I had this ability, or I would not know where I could go, what I could do to get my voice heard. I didn't even know that I could get my voice heard in these questions.
It's like I didn't know that I could like make my voice heard and it could actually have any impact. So I was kind of like going to schools and just inform us as I would do to be useful in the knowledge that you can do something. And maybe also like social media platforms can also be a big energy. Many things in there. But also it's just like to open the conversation, to open things up so that you can do it in English. And then just for some choice. Like that is important to know.
So this was the view from our fantastic students, and I was going to put this. We have in these rooms put up the posters from the drawings and ideas that sprang from the brief workshop. We all had a workshop for
1.5 hours.
1.5 hours, like 60 minutes, and we're working on this. So, and they then chose different neighborhoods to concentrate and focus on neighborhoods where they are living or that they have experience of. And you can see them and have a look at them also after the session. Just going to briefly show them out. And now I'm going to hand over to Andrew.
Yes, and I think we'll invite our speakers up here. So Mo, would you like to come up here? And Romina, please. Mika, Maria, Corinne. So I think what we did here, the kind of brief pilot experiment that we did, we hope we believe that connects to lots of things that are already being done and processes that are working in Flemingsberg, and obviously we have research projects and sort of ongoing that sort of are already using some of these methods of working. So I'm asking you, the researchers first. I mean, you were part of this, you designed this, and you have the expertise on urban planning from a kind of research point of view. When you see these the results, the posters, and when you hear the youth speaking on them, is there anything that surprises you about what they said? Anything that sort of stands out? Or does it sort of confirm what you already know from your area of work? I mean, if you would like to begin sort of commenting on the results and what that stands out, something that strikes you.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, maybe I'd like to comment a bit on the method. The method it's a well-established method that has been often used with young people. Mostly in the UK, there is an NGO called Make Space for Girls. I'm not sure if you've heard about them, but these are an NGO that campaigns for, just making sure that we don't overlook the needs of girls. And they often use personas because they advocate for the fact that when you engage young people, you need to open up the possibility for them to speak from their own place of knowledge and understanding of the lived environment, which is very hard to do. You heard they are rather unsure from how much you can contribute, but asking them to brainstorm. And I felt it really worked so well because we put down a young person today, and I can see from the outputs who they are. It's Lisa, 16 years old, Sarah, this much old. They really brought together their friends into the picture. So I felt that was really working well. And so using this, they allow them to identify with the person they were speaking and bring in really a lot of what their lived experience is from their own perspective. So not an expert coming and telling them what the expert wants to hear. So I felt that worked very well. And indeed, Make Space for Girls is using this, and there are reasons, so that's very nice. What I was a little bit surprised, so while the method was confirmed that it's a good method to move, what I was a little bit surprised, well, I did not expect it so much, is the lived environment and the description of the personas today were reflecting what is happening in society today, and that was expected. But the future, so we moved into the future 10 years, and we did it on purpose to not go in some hyper-realistic science fiction scenarios. So 15 years would see them being aged like a family, in their 30s. So the images of the future were, when I was thinking about them, were both positive and negative, but were very much influenced by the public discourse on the use of technology and on the contemporary issues. So you can see how young, coming out of age adults, they're already seeing what their future is through these narratives. And studies in psychology and other fields say that you will have the tomorrow you're able to think of. So if you think of a tomorrow that's dark, that is being super controlled, and you have no money, that's where you will, it's your future objective, and that's really coming true. Not all of them. I believe that not all of them, but like the work I was sitting in the group working on planning spy. The future youth is not living in a very nice environment, and it's hyper technological, and safety and security, police. So that is something I did not expect.
Yeah. We sort of renamed it from my ideal city to my future city because of that partly. Mo, you've been working on Europe, right? You've been working a lot with diversity and segregation and social inclusion and so on in cities. What comes to mind when you think about these results and sort of hear the speak?
Actually, there were so many interesting discussions that raised during our, let's say, very brief time that we had. Difficult to pick only one of them, but something that was strikingly interesting was their awareness of this today's contemporary social and cultural conditions in their areas, in their neighborhoods, on the one hand, and on the other hand, not being too much influenced by the rhetoric around it. For instance, we did have discussions about segregation and segregated neighborhoods, trying to sort of get to that discussions or rhetoric that why some neighborhoods are segregated and what could be the results behind it. And I could easily see they oppose those. They really argue against it, that why you consider it as segregated. So this was very, very interesting for me to see that despite being very young, despite having maybe this would not be having academic education, but they were using the really, really terms and ideas in line with the most advanced theories when it comes to, for instance, segregation. And I was very happy the way that they were acknowledging, appreciating the concept of diversity in a way that there was not an emphasis on, like in my understanding, when I was listening to them, they did not mean going towards more assimilating, towards more mainstream, reducing differences, rather putting emphasis on their differences from many aspects and cherishing and acknowledging and appreciating the diversity that today's society have from many different aspects, from cultural, social, ethnic, income, disability, so many different aspects. This diversity was important, this difference, and for me, I could easily believe that the next generation, the younger generation, might have much, much better understanding of the conditions, like living together despite all our differences in a socially sustainable society. So I think that was the most interesting thing for me to listen to these young generations' ideas.
Thank you. And if I turn to you now, you're sort of part of making this, whatever future there is, come into being, which is in your different roles. I'll start with you, Maria. Been working with culture. We had the previous panel on, how can we work together with kind of cultural activities and cultural programs for this space. From your point of view, sort of thinking about how we can involve youth, for instance, in your work. How do you, when you see these results and you hear the young people speaking, how do you think about what you're doing today and perhaps what you could do differently?
I was thinking, I work at the Culture and Leisure Department at the Huddinge Kommun, and I'm working very close with the Urban Planning Department. And I would say that we are working in quite different ways because the urban planning part is very bureaucratic and very like, okay, we're making this detailplan. This plan, we're going to build this building on this place, and then you can that has a very like formal process on okay, so now we are finished, we have some kind of idea of what we want to do, and then we send this out to a lot of reference groups and also inhabitants to like give feedback, but then as a person who lives in the area, have to know, like, okay, so now there is a plan coming, and I need to be aware that this is coming, and I need to find it on my own. So that is, it's very bureaucratic, and you have to have a lot of information to know where to search and how to comment on that. I think these methods are not available for young people, and it's difficult to navigate in that. But what Ungdomars kommun, together with Södertörnsvägsskolan Fabege is doing right now is that we're running a project where we're trying to figure out new methods, and Karin will tell you more about that, I think. We are reaching out to the young people instead of that they have to come find us. So that is something that we're aware that we have to do to make Flemingsberg that I'm speaking about like right now a sustainable city. But culture, of course, and culture activities is a very good tool to make everyone like own this place. Like, okay, I was part of this project, and we were building this place, we were making this art on this wall, or we were making this festival, and I was part of this. And like, this is, we need to also to create activities where people can take space, and culture is a very useful tool.
Thank you. And Karin, you're working sort of between as part of, as you said in the previous panel, sort of consultant being sort of between in some ways, you know, Fabege and the municipality working with experimental methods. When you see these results and hear the young people, what comes to mind for you? How does that relate to what you're already doing, and sort of perhaps how they see the future city?
Two reflections. One is well connected to these posters and the workshop you did together. And I was so surprised when I looked at them yesterday, because you can see clearly that these young people, they understand. I don't know if it's intentionally or unintentionally, but you can see all these threads that we talk about today. You can see the social sustainability. You can see the economic sustainability connected both to the public and to the market. You can see the environmental sustainability. You can also see the aesthetic sustainability in these personas, both now and in the future. And that's really, I don't know if they know that they have managed to do this, but that's when you're aware of things. You're on top on things. The other thing is, when I heard this, these young people, I was a bit worried, because we have a huge problem with democracy, not only here, but around the globe. And we know that we have a problem. That one of them said, to have your voice heard. And how do I do to be engaged in things? The ideality, is that the voluntary part of your life? How you can be part of something. And working in an architect and urban planning office, we are addressing these issues every day, because the city, the urban development, is a democratic construction. So I think you also mentioned something about it's really complex system for young people to understand what is going on. And we are working in the Våra project with this. The difference is that we take these things and put it in, we transfer it into placemaking and practice in the public space, to test and to see, like a prototype. What can we do better? And one of the participants, he's here, he's a student here at school, Oliver. And that's a democratic project, actually. And the city is a democratic thing in itself. So that's my
Thanks. And Mikael, you're working on the business improvement district, which is kind of a congregation of actors here, right? And if I understand correctly, maybe you want to pick up from Karin, but these issues of safety and security that are so sort of at the front here, which is, I mean, that's also part of what you're working with along. So is there something that you want to say on that? So their views on safety and security in the future, perhaps what you're doing today on that topic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's quite interesting. Formally, I'm employed at the Huddinge Commune at the safety and security section. But my employers, or what gives me my work assignments, are the landowners, and property developers, and property owners, and landlords in different areas of Huddinge. And my work is to coordinate them to make their management more effective. Areas more prosperous and happy and almost safe and a good place to live at least. And one of the things we do regularly is have all these stakeholders in the areas to meet up and discuss many of these issues. I was very impressed by these kids. I'm a little bit intimidated because apparently now teens talk better about these issues in English than I do. But we have a lot of these things I've heard before. As they said, there's saddening that they don't see ways into have an effect on democratic rights in society taken care of and have a voice. But on the other hand, they kind of do have a voice because we have all these different ways of listening and what we want and talking with people, so maybe not directly saying this is the impact supply side, but we have our ears on the ground. And a lot of these things I see that they have mentioned are in development. Many of these things maybe are already in place. And one thing we also identified is that we're not maybe that good to communicate what opportunity there is to affect society or participate in great leisure time activities or whatever it might be. Let's say, yeah, but my greatest question is just that I want to meet these kids. I want to talk to them and get some more details about what you mean about stuff like that. But the thing that I'm working on right now that I caught my attention is they talk about they want things close within walking distance, and that it should be safe walking distance, and that means put a lot of pressure on mobility. I'm maybe not a big fan of the car-based mobility, but there's also one thing that isn't mentioned, and that's like the physical objects that stops mobility here. I mean, we have the commuting train, we have the highway, we have steep hills. Those kind of things that also stops people from meeting and being a part of society or taking care of all the things that are possible here. But my main thing is that I take a lot of this with me, and I want to take the work with our worker here in Allmänheten and other police. Yeah, maybe find a more permanent forum to have a practice.
Right. Would be, to continue this conversation because there's so much to talk about, but I think we don't have more time, so I think we need to begin to
wrap it up. And I would like to thank the panel here, and I think we can continue the discussion afterwards, but I would also like to invite you all to get engaged, because maybe squeeze together. As I started saying, this is like a 4-step process. So the ideas, the personas, and other things, materials that we've been working on has now been uploaded on this pilot project collaboration platform. So you can scan the QR code and so you can find it on all the posters here. And this is a platform where we're trying then to see, can we engage in discussions together after we have this kind of sessions? And that we'll just continue to elaborate on during the last couple of months of the project. And also, if you want to just get in touch with us, this is us, it's me, it's Eric, and we also have our colleague Helen on the distance online. So just get in touch and we can continue the discussion and also maybe find future collaborations about these really important ideas of how to really engage you in the democratic process and sustainability planning. So with this, I thank you everyone for coming today.
Thank you.
I don't know if everyone signed this. No, please, if you om ni vill så får ni jättegärna skriva på här om ni har varit här och ni kan också skriva på